Hello and thank you for joining us from wherever you are. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Kokomlimle on digital address GA0992539. Our top stories this hour. Bagre Dam spillage continues to spell doom for Northeast and Upper East regions after killing 10 people. We're live as Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia makes a stop of his campaign trail in Boko, one of the most affected areas. We hear what support he's offering victims shortly. Also, we're live at Parliament's Public Accounts Committee sitting as the chairman is set to fix a date for appearance of MP Fakumuru to justify claims that musician Shatawale was paid 2 million Ghana cedis to work as brand ambassador for state-owned Exim Bank. And day 3 of the NDC manifesto. Today we focus on job creation and the NDC's promise to create at least 1 million jobs. How? And how do we even measure the creation of such jobs in tenures of political parties? I have a labor expert, the NDC, and you for that conversation. Also coming up, at least 2,000 senior high students attempted to kill themselves in 1 year. We talk World Suicide Day as we hear stories of suicide survivors and how you can keep sane despite life's hardships. Join us on DSTV 421, Go TV 144. We're streaming live on YouTube. We're on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Join us with your thoughts on WhatsApp 0540109009. My name is Gifty Andopia. This is The Pulse. Please be my guest. Welcome to the show. I'll take you through the details now. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is assuring victims of the recent floods in the Upper East region that government will do everything in its power to support them. The Vice President is currently on a 2-day tour of that region. He made a stop at Kobori in the Boku West District, where a portion of the Bolgatanga-Boku Road has been totally washed off, cutting off the eastern part of the region from the capital. Listen.
So this morning we are here on the Bolga-Boku Road, specifically on the Kobori stretch, where the road has been completely washed off. On the other side of what you are seeing is the Kobori Bridge, which earlier in the week had been flooded. So what the police together with NADMO have done is to set up blockades on each side of this broken portion of the road to prevent people from crossing. Now, on the edges of the road, erosion has taken place and the road is gradually just eating away. And considering the fact that this road is currently under construction, this is a major damage. The president, the vice president, I should say, is set to visit this place, and already people are waiting for him to come and inspect this damage that has taken place here at Kobori. He will tell us what government plans to do. But this is the damage that the recent heavy rains coupled with the spillage of the Bagre Dam has caused. The this portion of the Kobori Bazua stretch of the Bolgatanga-Boku Road has completely given way, and the water is just rushing across the road.
Now Albert is joining me with more. Hi Albert.
Hello, Gifty.
Tell us, what assurances is Vice President Bawumia giving these people?
Yeah, so the Vice President has been telling the people of the Upper East region that he is saddened by the effect of the floods this year. And he's been assuring them that government will do everything possible to support them. He has just been addressing the people of Anatim in the Bolga municipality, the communities that have been affected, and some of the victims are currently being housed in a school. They've brought some items which will be presented to them. The Vice President is currently addressing them as well. But he's been given the assurance that government is going to do everything possible to support them. He's also spoken about the Polugu multipurpose dam, which he says is under construction. And in the future, when it is completed, it will help alleviate these perennial floods.
There's no other way of looking at it. And it's a disaster that has been caused by a combination of the spillage of the Bagri Dam and heavy rainfall. So we've been really hit with a double whammy. We always know about the perennial spillage from the Bagri Dam. And as at last year, they were spilling around 8 million gallons a minute. And we were reasonably able to control it. Last year, a lot of desilting of rivers took place, and the impact of the spillage was relatively controlled. This year, instead of the 8 million gallons, that they started with about 4 million, went up to 8 million, they are now spilling about 29 million gallons a minute, which is extremely large as far as my information is concerned. And then combined with that, the rains that have come down at the same time, and that has resulted in flooding across Upper East and Northeast regions. Here, just at the Kubori Bridge here, we've seen that the roads have essentially eaten away the road, and you have a big gap left, and nobody can cross from Zebila going towards Oku because there is this breakaway of the road. So we have come here to assess what the situation is. There is a contractor on this road, the Bolga Boku Road, and once the water subsides, we've already talked to the contractor about how we are going to deal with this matter once the water subsides, and they have some ideas about how to quickly move in and deal with this matter, assess the structural strength of the bridge that is just outside here, and we will do that. What we are very concerned, however, in the whole area is about lives and livelihoods of our people. We know they've lost their livestock, they've lost their plants, the farming that they have done. They've lost a lot of crops as a result. And we have to find a way to help these farmers, to provide relief for these farmers, because when you lose your farm, that is a year's income that you have lost. And so we will have to take that into consideration and see how we can cushion all of these farmers who have lost their livelihoods. At the end of the day, this is a problem that we have kept experiencing year after year. And the question that I'm sure is on the minds of many Ghanaians is, what are we really doing about it? As I said, we have basically understood that to deal with this problem fundamentally, we have to have a flood control in the context of the Kwalugu Dam project. That is the most important antidote to all of these problems. And that is why we have moved and secured the Kwalugu Dam project. This project is going to be the biggest dam project that we have had in the northern part of Ghana. And the biggest investment is about $1 billion. Now, the contractors at the Kwalugu Dam are on site. There are 3 contractors. They are on site, and currently they are also, they've cleared the site all the way to the river, and they are waiting for the water to subside before they really start work. They need to divert the water. And so they will wait for the rains to subside, and then they will divert the water and start. But that is the fundamental solution to this. Thankfully, the consultations with the chiefs and opinion leaders during this process, because there was advanced information that spillage was going to occur. And I think we were able to get many people to move from the low-lying areas, and that has actually helped us in the context of the loss of life. We could have had even a worse situation in terms of loss of lives. 10 is too many. We are going to do whatever we can to provide relief to the people who have suffered here. There are truck drivers who are stuck on both sides of this road. They can't get in or out. We have to find a way to see how to help the truck drivers.
That's Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there. Albert, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
And so he's been assuring the people of what has to be done, or the plans, you know, the long-term plans about building the dam, etc. How do the people accept these, you know, words of comfort, so to speak?
Yes, the people have been, you know, excited about the Vice President's coming because the fears had been that it appeared help was still far away. But he's coming to meet them face to face, speak to them, and to personally present these release items to them, have given them some hope. We are currently at Anatim, and the chief of the area is just speaking to us after the Vice President gave his address. And he's actually showing gratitude to the Vice President and the regional minister and the government officials who have come here to commiserate with the people for the losses they incurred during these floods.
Have you had the opportunity to engage some of the victims? You say that some of them have been taken to, you know, get some, you know, take refuge in some classrooms. If you have interacted with them, what do they tell you?
Yes, so they've actually selected one of the community members to speak on behalf of the rest of them. She is actually just telling the Vice President that they are excited about it. In fact, I'm reporting to you from one of the classrooms where some of these people have been sleeping, and you see that they have some mattresses. They've moved away the classroom furniture to create space, and they put down some mattresses and tied mosquito nets under which they have been sleeping. So it's reassuring for these people who were sort of losing hope before the Vice President arrived.
Albert, thank you very much. It'll be interesting to find out how they do in these classrooms in the coming days. Albert Soy is our Upper East Regional Correspondent, bringing us up to speed on the Vice President interaction with the people there following the great losses they've incurred because of the flood and the opening of the Bagre Dam, the spillage of the Bagre Dam. Let's go to another place that has been affected by the spillage and the rains, Northeast region. Well, the Minister, Solomon Boa, has been warning some of the victims there in the affected district to desist from trying to salvage their farm produce and other belongings from areas that have been submerged. It appears that's what they're doing. It's been days of torrential rains, adding to the woes of the residents there after the spillage of the dam and the Bagre Dam and another one. Donating relief items to 1 out of 5 affected districts in the region, the minister told the victims there is the need to hold on until the floods have receded so as to avoid recording any more deaths.
You see that the person here has been cut off completely from the rest of the Mampuku. The person here is part of the West Mampuku municipality. So that's the next community from here. So it means that nobody can access any social services from the West Mampuku municipality coming from the Mampuku Maburi unless the Upper East region. So this is the more reason why we keep talking about the powerful multi-purpose dam, that people should embrace and pray that this construction sees the light of the day to solve this problem once and for all. I can tell you that at the end of the day, when this water is gone, the devastation the facilities that are going to be destroyed, especially water points, food stuff, is something that you cannot get described. So I want to call on Ghanaians to say a very big thank you to His Excellency the President, especially with those around the Northeast region. There is no politics about it. What we are saying is something that we are all feeling it here. I am very sure that everybody here is just praying that we finish this engagement and leave here within the next 5 minutes. But everybody is scared about the water. We are in the middle of the water. But that is service to Mother Ghana. We are here to let the whole country know that the place is really, the situation is a very terrible one. And I'm sure that our people will listen to the information that is coming from the meteorological department, that we should not take anything for granted going forward, because more rains are yet to come. So if more rains are yet to come, even those who are capable enough and they are these canoe people, please, they should listen to the advice and stay away from the water for some time now. We are just from a funeral house where we are counting the losses of 2 of our brothers who lost their lives because they had to come and take the risk of harvesting their maize. They were good as I believe that they were as good as these people who are also paddling their canoes. We want to encourage everybody that we should stay away from this situation for now, so that when everything goes down, then life can return to normal. This is a force majeure. This is something that is beyond human understanding. And once it's beyond human understanding, nobody has an antidote to it, apart from the fact that we have to ensure that the problem of the Papers Dam construction sees the light of day. This is what I want to leave with every Tom, Dick and Harry in the Northeast region, and for that matter, the Mopuru estate. So I want to thank you once again for being part of this trip to see and first on what is happening around this area. Game changer, obviously, this $1 billion, almost $1 billion project is something that will really go a long way to at least keep this unfortunate perennial situation once and for all. And we can only thank the Almighty God that we have a leader who thinks through and is able to make sure that the things that are put in place are things that will really go a long way to resolve major crises that have engulfed this country for a very long time. So be rest assured that when we are able to finish the construction of the program of Papers Dam, in future when you see us here, then we are talking about how they are using the dam to really get involved in farming activities all year round, and not to be talking about the fact that people's farms have been destroyed, lives have been lost, and what have you. So His Excellency the President, Nana Adonko Akufo-Addo's government is very, very serious in addressing this issue, and I'm sure that we will only continue to pray for good health for him. We can probably continue to pray for good health for the Honorable DC, our parliamentary candidate, Honorable Mustafa Yusuf, who has been all over trying to see how he can also contribute his quota in making sure that temporarily this family smiles. We were able to put smiles on the faces of this family. So thank you very much, everyone.
That's the Northeast Minister, Regional Minister there, and that woman standing in front of her certainly looks like a widow of one of the deceased. Now, some of the flood victims themselves have been counting their losses. They've been talking to us and they're appealing for support.
Nobody even get anything, but it was this month, the end of this month, I have like the means will be ready for them to have it. So even if you go around here, take the blame, you see the water. But the people go there, you know. That one day we were going to dig planting first, so they were going to see whether they can try and get some issue. So they were in the middle of the water and the ship just then, so they couldn't survive.
So
I don't think so.
Nobody?
No.
So you said
yes.
How much of that farm is destroyed by water, or all?
acres or it's about 7 or 8 acres, 7.5. All is destroyed.
Is it maize or rice?
Yes, maize.
So what will you do now? How will you leave?
Now, only God knows because now it's running them. And they made we have some maize farms around the community. Down to the rain is falling down. The rain is falling every day. Down to it's falling now. It's not easy. The water the river on side, but the houses from the one that near the house, the rain to spoil down. For managing, like some of us we went to South. Do some small job.
Can you speak aloud?
When the dry season comes, some of us will run to surf and do some small job.
I heard some because of the water.
Yes, no anything to do again, no food, no anything.
So they have to travel to
surf.
And you?
Many rooms has been full about uncountable. It's now uncountable because just today now, one store has just fallen at that place by the road. I don't know. Many.
So where are people?
Well, they have to find some of their relatives and then go to them and then they'll...
Are some people sleeping with you in your house?
Yeah. 5 friends sleeping with me because of that.
Friends?
5 friends.
Sleeping with you?
Yes.
So NADMO is here and the regional minister is here. What do you need now?
Well, if they can get us food and our first thing should be food. Then our second one should be when they get us something like cement for us to build in the dry season time, so that when it is the rainy season comes like this, we shouldn't be having any challenge again. Yeah, the rain has, or let me say the flood has just destroyed everything, and there's nothing that we can do again.
Let's get to the ground now. Eliasu Tanko is our correspondent for Northeast region. Eliasu, you've been interacting with some of these victims of the floods, and they tell you what they need. But before you left the area, were you able to reach out to any of the family members of those who have been killed by this disaster?
Yes, we spotted the wife of one of the people who died on Saturday when they tried to use a canoe to harvest on their farmland. And the house was full of emotions. She narrated, she gave us the details of how her husband died. She said the husband left her, the husband left her and went to the farm field to harvest the milk. And for 3 days, she wasn't hearing of the husband. And so she told the family members what transpired before the husband left. And the family members had to organize a local search party to go into the farms, to visit the farm. And they searched for the husband, and they found the husband dead in the water. And she was also appealing to government to come to aid, because the husband left about 3 children, and she was the only one who was going to take care of the children. So she asked for government intervention to take care of the children. We also spoke to some family members who, because the regional minister, on behalf of government, donated some undisclosed amount to the family as well. And they were very grateful to the minister for that particular intervention.
And certainly this will be devastating for her, having lost her husband this way. We saw the minister, make some donation. The amount is undisclosed. But what exactly did he give to these people?
Well, there were some food items that were sent not to only the family who lost their relative, but also some community members who also lost their farmlands and also their houses and other properties. They made donation of plastic rubbers, the blankets, children mattresses, food stuff, rice, and some cooking oil, and other other stuff like blankets and also zinc. Like the person who was speaking, one of the residents was speaking to us asking for cement.
Yeah.
And then also some roofing sheets or zinc to roof up. The minister sent some roof there. Okay. And then also other stuff.
All right.
Donated to other victims who also lost their properties to the flood.
I believe that the minister has wrapped up his visit there. He's done. What is the situation right now? Has the flooding subsided anyway?
Well, for the whole day, as I speak right now, we have not had any rains today, but we understand the water from the Bagre Dam are still coming, especially those living around the White Water River, especially those also living in the River Oti area in the Cherponi district, for instance. We understand the water is still coming, but for today, as this morning, we have not had rain. The rains have stopped as we speak.
Sounds good to me, Elias. So thank you. Unless there's anything more that our audience need to know, that's it for me for now. Elias Tanko is our correspondent for Northeast region. Very difficult situation they're dealing with right now up north. This is still The Pulse with me, Gipsy and Dopia. Let's take a very quick break. We'll be right back. When we come back, we're talking about Suicide Day. We understand that at least 200,000 senior high students tried or considered taking their own lives in the past 12 months only. We'll tell you why. Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, at least 200,000 senior high school students in Ghana considered taking their own lives in the past 12 months. That's a staggering statistic coming to light this morning on the AM show as the world marked World Suicide Prevention Day. There's more to learn about suicide and the damage it is causing to society. But first, what will drive a person to attempt to end it all? Here is Karinda Silvera, who attempted suicide in the past.
It started in 2009. That was somewhere in after I had completed senior secondary school.
Okay.
So that process was a thought because I wasn't comfortable in my skin. Then it went on to me being sexually abused by someone I trusted as a friend who I knew and who dragged me. And I saw the person coming on to me, but I was too weak to fight it off. Now, after that experience, when I got home, I was like in the shower for almost 2 hours. Nobody could find, like nobody knew. My brother was around, my mom was around, my dad was around, but they didn't know what was happening. So I was like, I'm gonna end it. I'm done. Like there's nothing. And funny enough, the next day I have work. And the next day I went to work like nothing happened. And when I got to work, I broke down. I couldn't do anything. So I had to go to my HR and go like, see, boss, this is what has happened. I can't do this right now. I can't concentrate. I need time off and I can't be here. So all through, he said, okay, he understood, and I left. But I don't think they understand, because at the end of the day, they needed me at work at a particular period in time. Say you said this, and they'll give you like 3 days, go and think about it.
But did you tell him exactly what he had gone through?
Yeah, I actually said it.
Why were you comfortable telling him, but you didn't tell family?
No, the thing was, at that point, when it happened, and I'm like, I'm the type who is not, who can bounce back from anything.
Okay.
So I thought, oh, okay, now I can bounce back and later go through the process of the pain and go through whatever went through.
So are you the independent kind?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
Because I can relate.
I am. So I thought I could just bounce back and be okay. So then I got to work. So in the car going to work, I felt like it was coming. The darkness was just clouded. So in the car, something said, jump out of the car. You get it? The voice said, jump out. This is the end. Just finish up with it. But then I was able to get to work. When I got to work, before I even got down from the car, I'm like, Karen, you can do this. let's go. So I got to work and I was there and I'm like, oh, no, I can't. So luckily the HR I spoke to was a female. So, and I had known her for years because I've been working there for a period of time. So I called her and I told her, I can't do this. And she kept asking me, what is wrong? And it took time for me to even break what had happened to her because she didn't get it. So I finally confided in her. I said, this was what had happened. I need to leave ASAP. And on my way home, it was still like that. I'm like, okay. So at a point, I got down at the car at the beach area.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, so this is it. What are we gonna do? Do you jump? Do you do this? Then another silent voice came in. Karen, no, don't, please. At least just go home and say something to somebody. I go home, normal, like, I keep to myself. I'm a kind of a reserved type. So when I go home, everybody thought everything was normal. But they didn't know that was the day I was about to. Nobody knew. I saw my brother, I saw my mom, I saw my dad. And funny enough, I was giving, I give a hint like, I am not fine, I'm not okay. And when you say that, my brother knows me to be somebody who speaks to people, who encourages people, motivates people. So sometimes when I talk to him, he says, you're a motivator, that kind of a thing. So he can't identify with what I'm going through because he thinks I'm stronger than it. So even when I tell him, not today, I'm not fine. He said, I'm a motivator like you, but that is more what I need at that period. So I went to my room. I wrote a letter down. And
do you remember what you said?
Yeah. That letter I'm talking about today, a friend of mine he kept that note. And he sent it to me like 4 years after because he saved me. Wow. He came, as everybody had gone to work by then. He came, and when he came, he was like, I was wrong. And he's the type, we don't talk often, but he can sense when I'm not okay. He called 1, 2, 3, he didn't get through to me, he just came. So when he came, the letter was there, the knife was there, the concoction was there. And when he came, he just grabbed me. He said, Karen, no. So at that point, he was even confused. He didn't even know what to do. I remember he called his sister, and this person I'm talking about is Bamidele Stevens, Abeku Stevens. Wherever you are, I say thank you, because you are part of the reasons of my life today. He was like, you're not going to do it.
So this is just a friend who had tried to reach you.
Yeah.
Who couldn't get through.
And he came.
And decided, let me just follow up.
And see where Karen is. So.
And that's the moment where you had written.
Oh, the letter.
Essentially like your last words.
Yeah, that was my last words. And at this point, probably my family watching doesn't know about it.
Who were you speaking to in that letter? Who were you hoping would read it?
My family. Mostly that's my stronghold. I'm not a social butterfly, so I don't really have a lot of friends. Yes, so.
But what were you telling them in that letter?
In that letter, I was like, I wish I could explain it better for you to understand, but I can't. And I'm sorry I'm doing this. I love you so much, and I love you. I need you to. And I was like, I told my brother, Nath, take care of mommy and dad. I love you, but I need to go. Yeah. And my brother never got to see this letter we are talking about. He doesn't even know about it. And that would have been like the last day I would have seen everybody. And I wouldn't be this woman I am here today. Yes, like 4 years or 5 years down the line talking to you in this seat. I wouldn't be the woman I am today, and I am I am thankful. Again, Bamidele Abeku Stevens, Auntie Boydiwa, Auntie Mimi, Shati, Frida Jenfra, Samuel Kelly Brew. Now, these are people who never gave up.
That's a very touching story there. These are people who never gave up. Who are you giving up on, and who do you think needs help around you? What is your own short story? You can share with us on 054-0109-009. But unfortunately, many other Ghanaians have come to the brink of suicide for various reasons. So joining us via Zoom is Dr. Enes Dakwa, a psychologist and health promotion expert at the University of Ghana. Hi, Doc. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
So the issue about suicide, I mean, I don't know if we have come to terms yet as a country, how prevalent it is, but help us with a mental picture. How serious and widespread would you say it is?
Well, I think the information has been put up this morning already, and you also repeated some of it, that as much as 200,000 or as many as 200,000 of our young people in senior high schools thought about taking their own lives. If you pay attention to the press release that was brought out today by the Ghana Psychological Association, you'll find out that suicide is a huge problem across the globe, but also a very, very big problem here in Ghana, mostly because our situation is exacerbated by non-reportage or non-reporting of suicide. So not many people come forward to report or to even talk about their ideas or their intentions to commit suicide. So the data we have doesn't even paint the complete picture of what's happening. So we have about 1 in 10 adults in rural communities that have thought about taking on their own lives. And if you look, I can't give the specifics of the data right now, but if you look at it generally, you see that the most at-risk people in this country are young people, young adults between the ages of 15 to 38 years old, and also elderly people. And often it's understandable because these are points in life where people are often confronted with a lot of critical activities or critical events that they have to navigate through.
And are there any prevalent or recurring reasons why people decide to take their own lives based on the statistics available?
Yes, of course. The statistics and the research that are available to us show us that, yes, there are recurrent reasons, or there are certain common reasons or precursors to suicidal ideation and suicidal commission. So, but it also depends on the age group that you're talking about. So if you listen to the lady that whose video you just showed,
yeah,
her case occurred right after senior high school. It started right after senior high school, right? And when people are within that age group, there are certain critical events that occur in their lives, and there are certain expectations that society has of them. So when they feel like they have failed to meet these expectations, it can push them to want to end their own lives, or to think that they are worthless, and also they are not that nobody wants them in this life. So, for example, we know that when people face traumatic situations, these kind of traumatic situations can actually make them vulnerable, or can actually elevate the risk of suicide among such people. And these traumatic situations may include, for example, a breakup in a relationship, let's say a divorce or separation. It can also be a failure, examination failure, and it can also be legal cases or loss of job, or some kind of significant negative event that has occurred in the person's life. And believe you me, especially my concern is more with the young people, because if you look at some of the reasons that the research has shown why young people, adolescents especially, want to engage in self-harm or take their own lives, some of them may look quite trivial to you, but to us it's quite interesting. Somebody has thought of taking their own lives because they see their friends on Facebook all the time having fun, and they have been told to stay home by their parents.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, I have dealt with a young person before who wanted to take her own life because one of her dormitory mates told her that she looks like a boy, and she said she stood in the front of a mirror and she looked at her body and she couldn't compare herself. She couldn't see the other things that the other girls had on their bodies, on her body. So she thought she wasn't girl enough, and she had to end it. So the reasons are wide and varied. But it all comes down to the fact that parents and caregivers, significant caregivers, are now going to have to pay increasing attention to what goes on in the lives of these young people. Because like what the lady said, and I really very much empathize with her, and I've seen a lot of young people who have been in that situation. The thing is going on with her, and the parents or the immediate family know nothing about it. So they look at this person, they live with this person, they pay for the person, they think they are parenting, they are doing everything for you. But what's going on with this young person, the family has no idea. So in this lady's case, thank God she had a friend who actually followed up to check on her, because the family would have been around whilst their child is dying. And this is happening. A lot of children in senior high schools do not feel they can talk to their parents. The parental atmosphere, the home atmosphere does not give them that opportunity. So if they don't have anyone to talk to, they take their lives.
Do you feel like there is something about the African Ghanaian culture that somehow pushes, young people into even considering something like this?
Absolutely. I mean, there is something about every culture that actually exposes its people to things like this. So in our particular culture, there are certain things that happen in our parenting, in our relationships, in our social interactions, and in our cultural expectations of our people that can expose such a person, or that make a person want to take their lives. So, for example, if you look at the young people, the kind of things that they are exposed to online, especially with online activity on social media and all the other information content that they source from online, there are things that their parents would not appreciate or would not like seeing them engage themselves in. So, for example, you've got young people who want to be a makeup artists because they've watched the YouTube and they've seen Kim Kardashian or somebody doing makeup and all those kinds of things. And their parents want this child to be a medical doctor, a lawyer, or something. And this child wants to be a makeup artist. So that kind of thing can bring a conflict and can make the child withdraw from communicating with the parents. Also, if you move it up a little bit on the age group, you find a lot of young men and young women. And if you look at the GPA press release that came out, one of the reasons we stated in there was that especially for men, there are traditional expectations of masculinity. And when certain men feel like they fall short of those expectations, they feel like ending it all because they don't want to face the stigma, and they don't want to also be seen as failures in their community. So if a man is like 30 years old and jobless and still living with their parents, you will find a lot of their friends teasing them, laughing at them, or something like that. If a woman is within that age group and is not married, or doesn't have a child, or has lost maybe 2-3 marriages, has gone into 3 marriages and all are broken up, the person becomes some kind of stigmatized. And this is what brings ideas of, oh, I'm not worth it, I'm not lucky in this life, this is not for me, and they want to take their own lives. Yes.
Let's take some advice as we wrap up this conversation. In this day and age, things are very different from when we were growing up. Things were very different from when our parents were growing up, but we have to think, to live. So I'm wondering, what kind of advice would you give parents who have the very daunting task of taking care of the millennials or youth of today or younger people? What do they do?
Well, I would like to begin this advice from maybe giving this advice to the nation first before going to the young people. So, for example, if you look at the context in which Ghana finds itself or has found itself within this year, we have gone from one crisis to another, and all these things raise the risk level of psychological distress, which can culminate in suicide. So, for example, we began with banking crisis, and then we zoomed straight into COVID crisis. And just when we are managing to get a hold over the COVID crisis, we have an election coming up, and things are heating up. So the atmosphere in this country is heating up. The anxiety levels are rising, and we need to be vigilant. Now, the advice that I'll give to parents and other young people is that if you listen to this lady's story, there's an advice in there for you. She was saved by a friend.
Yeah.
It tells all of us that every one of us is a potential life saver, or it's a potential savior. If we pay close attention to our friends, our loved ones, we are likely to spot signs that may help us be able to prevent this thing from happening. So, for example, thankfully, when people are suicidal, they show certain signs, and the red flags are often there for us to see. When you listen, when you talk to them and you listen to their conversations, and you begin to hear things like, I'm even tired of this life, I feel death will be better, when I die, it will all be over, that kind of thing, you know, and I don't fit in, I'm worthless, these kinds of things. And when you also observe that this person has suddenly withdrawn, has suddenly become quiet, and the things that used to excite this person is no more exciting to this person, okay? Or sometimes people show sadness. You ask them, sometimes they can even cry. You ask them what's wrong with them, and they themselves can't tell you why they're crying. These are signs. So let us all be vigilant. And please, wherever you find yourself, whatever situation you find yourself in, I am speaking to you. The Ghana Psychological Association is ready to help. We have psychologists that are available. These days, Ghana is lucky. We have a lot of psychologists around. We have numbers around. You can call, you can reach out for help. A problem shared is a problem solved. So please, parents, please open your eyes, engage your children in conversations, and friends, please watch out for friends. We are a society together, and we need to help save each other's life.
I'm so grateful, Doc, for your time this afternoon, and I hope that this actually helps somebody and it reaches out to, you know, just take somebody off that very fatal decision this afternoon. I've been talking to Dr. Enes Dakwa. He's a psychologist also with the University of Ghana. He says there's help available. If you feel, you know, like the whole world is on top of you, there is help available. Is there a way to access that help, by the way, Doc, before I let you go? Maybe like a telephone number. I think you're muted. Like a telephone number or a platform, a social media platform where people can reach out for that kind of help.
You can just access the Facebook page of the Ghana Psychological Association.
Okay.
We've got contact lines all over the place on our Facebook site, and you can reach out to any of those. You can use those contacts and reach out and look for help. You need to see a psychologist, just like you see a medical doctor or a physician if you had malaria. Please talk to us. Okay.
So he says you can find them, Ghana Psychological Association. You can find them everywhere on social media. Do get in touch if you need help. Doc, thank you so much for your time. Now, let's go to senior high schools again. Contestants representing Archbishop Porter Girls SHS at the 2020 National Science and Maths Quiz say expectations from former students, friends and family members put enormous pressure on them to deliver. Now, the two representatives, Mercy Arthur and Natalie Asamoah, who told Maxwell Agbagba they were nervous prior to their contest but managed to beat Ahantaman SHS and Bibiani SHTS to qualify to the elimination stage of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Listen to them.
We were surprised that by the grace of God, we're able to remember much of the formulas, and then God made everything go on so well that right now you're feeling so glad, you're feeling very grateful right now.
You're feeling grateful right now, but that was not the case before you mounted the stage, right?
No, we were nervous, we were tensed.
But now you're feeling better, right?
Yes, by God's grace.
Okay. What should we expect in the subsequent, contest? You've qualified to the 1/8 stage of the 2020 National Science and Maths Quiz. What should we expect from you? Talk to me.
Okay, well, we are still trusting in God and that they should expect nothing but the best from us.
Okay. No, I didn't hear that.
That we still hold that statement that we trust in God and that we'll be expecting nothing but the best.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
So, not all female school has won the NSMQ since its inception. Can you imagine that? 2019 contestant of Archbishop Porter Girls, Mercy Arthur, is also studying medicine at the University of Cape Coast, says it will happen within the next 5 years.
Student here in UCC, and we are managing. It's okay. Academics is going fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you're studying medicine?
Yes, please.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me, how easy was the exams? Someone actually told me that for National Science and Maths Quiz contestants, when it comes to WASI, the final exams, it's just a walk in the park for you. It's so easy because you have the syllabus in your head. How true is that?
Well, I would say it's entirely true because you have to put in extra effort, just like any other ordinary student would. It's not that easy, but you have to try and study so that you pass. You have to study. It's part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What level of the competition did you get to last year? Tell me about it.
The 1/8 stage.
Oh, the 1/8 stage.
Yeah.
You were kicked out by which schools?
By St. John's School. Yeah. Our brother schools though.
Okay.
We were seeded, but then unfortunately, I don't know what happened, but we were kicked out. Yeah.
Okay. I've been talking to a lot of people, and they think that sometimes the audience in the auditorium can actually be intimidating for you girls. What was it like on the stage, speaking with all the cameras, lights, and everything on you? What was it like? Did it affect your performance in any way? Do you think it affected the performance?
Frankly, we were actually being supported more by the audience. Okay. But then I think maybe the mistake was on our part. Maybe we didn't really put in much effort that we were supposed to. Yeah. But the audience, they were really supporting us. Okay. As for that, yeah. They were not intimidating us at all. Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since the inception of the National Science and Maths Quiz, we've not had any girls' school winning the trophy. Do you think a girls' school, an all-female school, will be able, to win it anytime soon, this year or maybe in subsequent years?
Yeah, we can.
10 years to come or when?
Well, I can't really say, but we can. We can with extra efforts and determination. We can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, but are you confident enough to put a timeline to it?
Let me say maybe 5 years from now.
5 years from now. Okay. Yeah. What message do you have for the girls' schools taking part in this year's competition? I'm sure definitely you have a message for them. What do you want to tell them?
They normally say what men can do, women can do and do it better. And I really believe that with determination and perseverance, we can do it. Sometimes we are reluctant, we are complacent, we feel we are okay, but then if we put in extra effort, we'll do well.
Certainly will do well. Well, they failed to make it to the National Science and Maths Quiz last year, but contestants of the Zamze SHTS say they are not only here to win, but in grand style. They claim to have wasted no time, catching only 2 hours sleep a day to ready themselves for the battle ahead. PSC Nanaya Safo is in the Tamale Senior High School. He serves you with more of NSMQ happenings there.
Only 5 out of Ghana's 16 regions can boast of ever having won the National Science and Maths Quiz trophy. The journey for the Northern region began in February 2020 during the regional stages when scores of senior high school students contested for a slot in the preliminary stage. But unfortunately, a month after, Ghana will suffer its first cases of the coronavirus, postponing or even cancelling some dreams and hopes as people gave up on the possibility of even having the much coveted championship this year. However, 7 months down the line, preliminary stages are set. Today, that's Thursday, the 10th of September, is going to host the first day of the preliminary stages right here in the Northern region. I'm at the Tamale Senior High School, and currently before the Zamse Senior High Technical School bus, where the contestants are very busy preparing for their round stages today. We'll have a short conversation and interaction with them. Hello everyone, good morning. Good morning. And how are we doing today? Okay, so just briefly and short introduction to yourself. Tell us your name, tell us your position, and we'll ask questions later. So short introduction. Hello, sir.
Hello, good morning. Please, I'm Akurubiri Joseph Adumbila, a teacher, and we just came yesterday and we prepared for the program, and I believe with God on our side, we shall win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But you were not here last year.
No, we were not here last year.
Tell us how the journey has been so far. I assume you are the head teacher for the team then.
Well, it's always been tough, the regional basis, we are almost always closer and we don't get it. But God being with us last year, this year, we were able to emerge through. So
and what should Ghanaians expect for you in the tournament?
Well, they should expect the best from us. Yeah.
Expect the best. He doesn't want to give us too many surprises there. But let's come to the gladiators themselves, if you may, the ones fighting the battle right here. You see, they've been quiet. Even though the tournament itself, with the first contest set to begin very soon, they are busy here, poised and steadying for the last, if you may, before they enter the tournament room to show some powers of Zamze Senior High. So telling me your name, and you tell me simply, what should Ghanaians expect of you in this contest today?
Okay, I'm Baku Matthias, and I'm also a teacher. Yeah.
Oh, you're a teacher?
Yes.
Quite young.
Yeah. And we are coming for a win. We are not just coming to take part and go back, but we are coming to win.
You're going to show something.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we are winning.
Wow. And?
I am Akurge Ebenezer Assemble. I'm a contestant, number 2.
Is that your apo you are carrying?
No, it's not apo. It's how I'm well prepared for the contest. I know the way I'm prepared, waiting for the contest will win.
And hello, sir.
I'm Winnie Daniel Awenso, a contestant too.
PSA and Anaya Osafo with those students there. Now, the broadcast of the 2020 National Science and Maths Quiz is brought to you by JoyNews, your most credible news channel. It is supported by Bright Senior High School, Kukrentumi, Building Dreams, Shaping Futures, and DBS Roofing Papa Fie, Adonko Hand Sanitizer, Korumpo Sro, Adonko Next Level Energy Drink, the Premium Energy Drink. Very soon we have the NDC representative here in the studio, so we keep breaking down the manifesto. We're focusing on employment and job creation. But before that, let me take you quickly to the Takwa and Suaye municipality. It is one of the MMDAs in the Western region to have recorded high positive cases of coronavirus during the peak of the pandemic in the country. Today, the municipality has only 3 active cases, a huge sigh of relief for residents and the Municipal Health Directorate. But the Municipal Health Directorate for the area, Caroline Eshen Otu, is warning that the continuous non-adherence to protocols and the opening up of the population, with those things happening, a spike is anticipated. In Natalia Kwanzaa reports from Takwa.
Caroline Otu, like President Akufo-Addo, is warning against continuous non-adherence to COVID-19 protocols, as she says now that the society seems to be opening up, a spike could be in sight. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, hospitals in Takwa struggled responding to emergency situations. The pandemic worsened the situation, but the hospital is now receiving 2 new ambulances from the Goldfields Ghana Foundation. At the handing over ceremony, Caroline Otu emphasizes the number of health workers who were affected by COVID-19. She says with the ambulances received, she strongly believes the Health Directorate will be swift to respond to emergencies.
COVID-19 took a toll on the municipality, and health workers were not spared. PPEs to the health service has gone a long way to reduce prevalence of COVID-19 among health workers in the municipality. These ambulances will go a long way to enrich our response to cases which need to be evacuated from communities. COVID-19 pandemic appears to be hibernating. However, with the opening up of the population, a spike is anticipated.
General Manager Taco Mines Stephen Osei-Bempa says the presentation is just one of the many interventions by Goldfields to improve healthcare delivery in their host communities.
Since Goldfields employs over 69% of its workforce from the host communities, providing health support to our communities simply means that we are taking care of our own. We are here to present 2 brand new, fully equipped Mercedes-Benz ambulances to the Apinto Hospital and the Takwa Insayim Municipal Hospital.
In Athalia Kwansa, JoyNews, Takwa.
And speaking of coronavirus, the multimedia group is partnering the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and Coalition for Event Managers and Suppliers to embark on an intensive public education for COVID-19. The campaign, which is also in collaboration with the Creative Arts Council, is seeking to mobilize and distribute free face masks to the poor and vulnerable who cannot afford masks, as well as education on the appropriate wearing of face masks to help prevent coronavirus infections. The group visited Wager Leprosarium, Ghana Prison Service, and the street children and donated some masks to them. Pakwesi Akom is the channel manager for Joy Prime and spoke for the multimedia group.
I want to thank God for this special occasion. It's quite honoring to be part of this wonderful initiative. And I want to thank Father Campbell for accepting us into his space, Christ the King, for this presentation. My brother Kabute has said it all. I want to take the opportunity to actually thank the Max for All initiative for allowing us as a media house, multimedia group, to be part of this wonderful and laudable idea. So far, we have received a lot of masks based on the kind of promotions we did. And on behalf of my immediate boss, Abdullah Awudu, who happens to be the GM for Adum Brands and the acting GM for the Joy Brands, entire Joy and Adum Brands of the multimedia group, our bosses who have made it possible for us to be part of this wonderful idea. I want to say a big thank you to all the people who have donated masks across the length and breadth of this country. We've received from Kumasi, from the Ashanti region specifically, from the eastern region, from the western region, from the central region. People have really shown love to us. And this is to actually also support the vulnerable. And like our campaign has been, it's just the beginning. We are still receiving masks, so if you're out there and you have the opportunity to grant us masks, donate masks to us, please. We are always ready to receive those masks. And at the right time, we will share to the vulnerable. Thank you very much.
Kabute Okanse represents the Coalition for Event Managers and Suppliers.
Come here as the Mask for All Coalition through the partnership we've had with Accra Metropolitan Authority, the Creative Arts Council, and very, very critically, multimedia broadcasting led by Joy Prime. We're here today to fulfill one of the key aspects of this whole initiative, to actually donate the masks to various groups who need them the most so that it can extend the objective for which this whole initiative was started. So today we are blessed to be here with Father Campbell to present to himself and to the beneficiaries of his soup kitchen program, but as well through him we know that he's been very instrumental in spearheading efforts towards supporting the various leprosaria across the country. So we also have masks donated for the various leprosaria, and we would hand over that to Father Campbell for the various centers across the country. We would as well have here representatives from the Department of Social Welfare who would also receive masks on behalf of the various orphanages across the city.
Father Andrew Campbell expressed their gratitude for the gesture.
All I can say, I'm very, very, very grateful to them, and I thank them very much, because we all know the need of our masks, to wear our masks at all times because of the pandemic that we're going through, this not normal times, this normal time we're going through, this wearing our masks, that we need masks. And these children are on the streets. They cannot afford masks. They cannot afford them. They're on the streets, they're cleaning windows of cars, and begging here, and they cannot afford them. And every day we have to take care of 200 children, 200 every day. So all we can do is to say a big, big, big thank you to the events personnel, and to thank on behalf of the lepers too in the various settlements all over the country. That will be sending them all their masks over the next week to be able to keep themselves free from this virus.
Father Campbell there. You're still watching The Pulse with me. We're going to take a very quick break. When we return, we're talking politics. To stay with us. Welcome back once again. Today we continue with our scrutiny of the NDC's People Manifesto. Our focus today is on job creation and employment. So the NDC is accusing the governing NPP of failing to do enough to create job opportunities for Ghanaians apart from sloganeering. And according to their manifesto, the NDC government, if elected to power, will implement what they're calling a Ghana framework for industrial revitalization, support and transformation, which is Ghana First, to boost the real sector of the economy and to create jobs. We will soon be joined in the studio. Well, I've already been joined in the studio by the NDC spokesperson on job creation, and also we'll have a labor expert join us via Zoom. But first, we'll take you live to town, where Manuel Kranting is out and about speaking to some young people in society on their current status and what they make of the NDC's plan of job creation. Hello, Manuel.
Yes, Gifty. So just like you're saying, in the 4 years of the NDC's reign, in fact, we had springing up of groups calling themselves unemployed graduates, the group of unemployed graduates and so on and so forth. In its attempt to come back, the NDC is promising a lot of jobs. In fact, about 1 million jobs in 4 years. Question is, are these jobs feasible, deliverable in the 4 years that if they get it, they are going to be giving? I've been joined by some gentlemen who have been reading the manifesto, scrutinizing it themselves, and I want to pick their thought on that. Jill Ametepe is to my left. I have a couple of others. Jill, let me start with you. NDC says 1 million jobs, 250 a year. They are going to put in place a number of things to achieve these things, these jobs. You think there's a feasible promise?
I think, thank you very much first of all, and a very good afternoon to your viewers. I think it's quite feasible, and I've always held the view that the right policies to the right challenges give us the right results. It's clear that there's an issue with job creation, not just in Ghana, but across Africa. And getting to that point where government understands that and comes up with policies that directly try to solve that challenge is quite laudable. And, for the past years or for the past decades, what we've seen is that, promises are not always in phase with government's actions when they come to power. So you have promises whilst they are campaigning, and you have some governmental actions when they are in power, and they are not always in phase. But this time around, one key thing that I've taken from both NPP and NDC is that they have tried to actually address some needs, and
which include what?
Which includes job creation, which includes...
But the people say these are just, words that they are throwing about as they, do all the time. And so we say 1 million jobs, and it sounds good. You may just vote for them, and 1 million jobs, will you really see it?
1 million jobs over 4 years. No, 250,000 jobs a year. If you put in place, if you continue with the one district, one factory, for example, if you have road constructions across the country, when you are building new universities, for example, when you are empowering people with digital skills for them to kind of come up with jobs on their own. Maybe the next Amazon is from Ghana, maybe the next Facebook is from here. And we can only imagine that in a digital world, when you are kind of creating such platforms for people to get those skills, you make them more relevant. And I would like to also emphasize on the fact that from what I've read and from what I've been hearing so far, the 250,000 jobs are not just going to be like governmental jobs. They are not going to be...
It can be from private sector. They are going to stimulate private sector. Good, great. Let me go to Kobe. Kobe is here. And now, Kobe, the NDC says 1 million jobs, 250,000 in a year. They are going to set up what they call the Employment Act to monitor the job creation. That seems to be, some commitment to monitoring the progress of that promise, isn't it?
Oh yes, I think the NDC did a very good job in their policy in their manifesto, and then they should be uploaded on that. But the only problem I had was that, see, the 1 million jobs are supposed to cut across, because we have students emanating from various universities with different degrees, supply chain management, project management, linguistics, we have construction management. There was no specifications in there. So let's just say they are going to legalize okada. Are all the 1 million jobs going to be okada jobs? You understand? So those are things we should look at. But with the Employment Act, I think it's been long overdue. The government should have taken that on course. And then I feel that our district assemblies are available to do that kind of work, because now people complain these assemblies are there. What work are they doing? I just taking revenue from Ghanaians. And
I'll come back to you. Let me go to Joshua. Joshua, quickly. The NDC says that we'll maintain NAPCO, and we're wrapping it up shortly. We'll maintain NAPCO and give them incentives, give them permanent jobs, giving the framework, the framework that we have. Remember that we just came out of an IMF embargo on employment and so on. That's so much pressure on government payers, isn't it?
Okay, so on that particular note, I think that it's not going to be a lot of pressure. I mean, with yes, obviously we are coming from a post-COVID season, and we are looking at how we are going to recover the economy. We'll be virtually looking at people are being redundant over the years. I mean, that over this COVID period, I'm sure that companies have realized that they can actually use less people for more jobs. Hence, yes, there's going to be that deficit. But then if you are going to read what the People's Manifesto is talking about, I think that it has highlighted about 16 different sectors that are going to create employment, and from textiles to energy to waste management to agriculture to energy. It has various places. I mean, let's even take the agriculture, for example. I mean, it has plans of processing 50% of the cocoa made in Ghana. That alone is job creation. So if there's a promise that we are going to give permanent jobs, I think that it's not far from it coming to realization, especially when they have plans like that. For example, I mean, like my brothers just said here, you have individuals in things like chain making and things like that. I mean, if you're going to look at waste management and we're going to make it something that's going to be nationalized, I mean, the Eugene recycle team, which can be, I mean, done across the place. When you go to Singapore, you have those things being done on a national scale, and this creates employment. And then I think that the People's Manifesto has these things which are very feasible and can come.
Great. You talk about Singapore. Maybe I should follow you sometime to Singapore. But finally, before I go, the NPP said that it was going to do one district, one factory, one village, one dam, one this, one that. All of these things were expected to create jobs. 4 years down the lane, we've seen that all of these things couldn't see the light of day, giving an indication that you cannot really, provide almost all the things that you promise. The 1 million jobs that the NDC is providing, isn't it just another, one district, one factory, one village, one dam, in another version package as jobs?
Personally, I think the MPP's promises were also time-bound for the 4-year period. But overly, I personally believe that the 1 million jobs over the period of 4 years, okay, I just can't feel the feasibility and the balance in it. Because if you are bringing a manifesto is about what or why you want us to vote for you. So this and that and that. But personally, looking at the NDC manifesto on the 1 million jobs, the feasibility studies and the balance of it. When I want to talk about the balance, I'm talking about looking at that in the other sectors. You understand? I just don't feel, because as my other brother was saying, Montana was saying, okay, you look at from the waste management, from all these, are there really areas that are, you understand?
We'll bring you more. We'll bring you more on the conversation as we move. But Gifty, you are hearing the conversation that we're having, and they are talking about feasibility. I was going to ask them about how government is going to, fund the jobs. I mean, the creation of the jobs that is talking. The NDC, I mean, not government. The NDC is going to fund the creation of the jobs. But I think that we can hand over to you now in studio, even as we continue the conversation here.
Yeah, certainly. Gifty. I do have someone who perhaps will be able to speak to how an NDC government, if elected, will be able to fund that particular project. And that person is Sebastian Day. He's a former executive director of CODVET, and he's also the NDC's 2020 spokesperson on job creation. Sir, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, Gifty.
You've heard these young people talk, and I'm wondering, if you want to make a brief comment on what they've said. They think that it's a great idea. I mean, a good part of them think this is a great idea. They actually think it is feasible. But some of them also, like many Ghanaians, think, really? How are you going to do this? I'd like you to comment on that briefly, and then we get to talk about your plan.
Well, thank you. I think from the conversation they were having, I have the impression that they are thinking positively, except to say that there is a part that the drift, which I got in terms of they thinking that most of what we're talking about has to do with government employing.
Okay.
But that's just a part of the whole equation, or a part of the strategies that we intend to put in place. Indeed.
Okay.
That is going to be part, but it's not going to be the top priority.
So then it looks like that just dovetails right into the conversation about what is the plan, 1 million jobs.
Well, let me clarify that we are not talking about just jobs, but we're talking about sustainable jobs.
Fair enough.
To the extent that we do not want to count certain types of jobs that we see in the system now as the kind of jobs that we are talking about as the 1 million agenda. We're talking about the 1 million agenda, which we have christened in Twi as Ejumapa. Ejumapa in the sense that we're talking sustainable, decent jobs.
That should earn you like at least how much in a month?
Enough to make you get a good living.
Rough figure? Have a rough figure?
Well, it depends. It depends. Some people, based on whether you want to be entrepreneurial in your approach, or based on whether you want to be an employee, you would earn what you earn. But people finish school today and they just enter the world of work as entrepreneurs, and they begin to make like a CEO or a director in the public sector.
That's not really simple. So with the Jumapa idea that the NDC has in mind, how much is someone supposed to earn that is decent? Because you're talking about sustainable jobs. In a sustainable job, will someone earn like say 2,000 cedis a month?
A sustainable job, yes, or more.
I see. Yes. Let's look at the plan again. What is the plan?
The plan, let me put it this way. It's actually premised on 3 strategic approaches we want to use. Okay. One of the strategic approach is to use what we call the big push, which is investing 10 billion in our economy over a period of 4 years.
Isn't that for infrastructure?
Yeah, infrastructure, investing in the economy.
So you're hoping that the infrastructural investment will create jobs?
Okay. It is infrastructure-led.
Okay.
But infrastructure, not any type of infrastructure, but infrastructure that will lead to job creation. And it is going to spread across a number of sectors, those that have the potential of growing the economy. That is what we're talking about. And it ranges from the roads leading to places that you can drive the economy. It includes even ports. It includes even warehouses. It includes anything that you can think of. And we have identified 16 different sectors that are growth sectors. And that is what we want to use as those are the areas that we're going to invest in over a period. And the 10 billion is not going to be invested on day one.
So you have 16 sectors within which you want to create the 1 million jobs.
Not just that, but those are the key growth sectors.
The key areas.
Exactly.
Do you want to give me the first 5?
Agro processing.
So agriculture.
Agriculture is one. We're also thinking about power. The power sector. We're talking about agro processing.
Isn't that part of agriculture?
No, agriculture is production.
Okay, and then you have agro processing.
Agro processing.
You wouldn't put all of that together under one umbrella?
Well, you can, but we're talking about apparels, which is light manufacturing. But starting from apparels to any other sector. We're also talking about the other areas like the creative arts, which is also one of the,
How do you intend to create jobs in the creative arts industry?
Well, I think that you in this industry have quite a number of things that you're doing, and which you would be, we are not going to create a job and then bring to you, but we actually stimulate the kind of things that make you make your cost levels go high, which is making you, which is actually militating against your ability to be able to expand. So, for instance, if you got some stimulus to enable you open up, enable you train people under our TVET training skills, for instance, where you will be supported by government, you'll be able to expand. And those are the kind of things we are talking about.
I see. So regarding the 16, I'll just go through what you have in your manifesto here that my producers have just supplied. Agriculture and agro-processing, pharmaceuticals. So agriculture and agro-processing are under one umbrella. Pharmaceuticals, health, tourism, light manufacturing, including apparels, accessories and assemblage, like you said, educational services, export, financial services, furniture, furnishing, ICT, oil and gas, strategic minerals, tourism, tree crops development. Wouldn't that fall again under agriculture? I'm wondering. Coastal landscape and forest management, wouldn't that again fall under agriculture? Infrastructure/construction, waste management, high-tech manufacturing, including chemicals. I'd like to find out from you. You have been at the helm of affairs at COVID before. What do you think, or what does the NDC think are the 5 key problems or issues that we have when it comes to unemployment?
Well, from the perspective you want to ask, or you ask the question from, that is, it has to do with TVET being a key driver of adding value to our agricultural produce, or adding value to our primary production or primary produce. This has to do with skills. And this has to do with skills which must be of a certain standard. And that is what we lack in this country, and that is what has actually been a drawback when it comes to us adding value to our primary produce.
Lack of skills, lack of value addition.
Yes.
And then which other one? Like I said, 5 key ones.
Yes. So I was actually going to that. And then lack of appropriate technology. Okay, skills goes with appropriate technology. Then standards, okay? Because if you actually training people to be able to do something, let me just say, for instance, the hair you're wearing, which is so beautiful, I must say, it must be of a certain standard, such that if, for instance, you had 5 people under training with you, and for one reason or the other, you're going to be away for 5 days, it is expected that if clients come to your company or come to your studio or your salon, right, they will be able to deliver what you would have delivered as the master craft person in that establishment. And it all goes to what we call standards. And that is why we're saying that the kind of jobs that the NDC has in mind, which is on the average, we're targeting about 250 of such within a year, average of such within a year, must be jobs which are sustainable, of world class, such that if you got somebody from Ghana and that person prides himself to say that, look, I have a certificate as a broadcaster from Ghana, he will be able to fit in anywhere and not ad hoc jobs.
One of the key issues that I recall us as a country having and discussing when it comes to job creation is the lack of statistics or a database that actually points us to who has a job and who doesn't have a job. How do you think, or how does the NDC envisage that Ghanaians can assess your deliverability of this promise after a year? How will we know that you've actually created this number of jobs? We've seen it when politicians will come and, you know, bundle figures and say we have created this number of jobs, we have created that number of jobs, and you can't even see the people who are in those jobs.
Well, that is why of the 3 strategic prongs that we are actually going to, which is going to lead in the job production, job creation exercise or job creation initiative that we're putting across. Supporting that will be a few or a number of government, initiatives or policy initiatives, if I can put it rightly. One of them is creation of an Employment Act, a novelty in Ghana, which we are bringing. It's never existed, and that.
Why didn't the NDC do that in the previous administration? It was discussed at a point, wasn't it?
Well, of course, we couldn't do everything within the 4-year period, but and mind you, within the period that NDC left government and is coming back now, seeking mandate from the people there are quite a number of things that we've put our minds to, okay, and we'll be able to come to the conclusion that they are of priority, particularly because some of those things feature prominently in our interaction or our engagement with the populace as we went around, collecting views of the people. And creation of that Employment Act, I must say that is of top priority. The reason it is so is this. You see, district assemblies form a very core part of the Ghanaian public or government machinery, which can be used to actually drive government business. But there is no law, or it's not part of their mandate. It's not part of the arrangement that they actually prioritize or mainstream job creation in their activities. But that when the Employment Acts come into force, you would realize that no district assembly or nobody heading a district assembly would prioritize his or her work, and job creation would not be part of it. So the law would actually force them to do so. 10 billion. And then creation of the what I call the database, which is the information systems. Getting that one on board is going to be part of that law, and I believe that those are things that will actually serve as the basis upon which these things can be driven by government in a very systematic way.
Is that why you're looking to legalize okada? I read a message that Don last sends from WA. He says the legalization of okada by the next NDC government will create sustainable jobs for the teeming youth. This policy is giving the government sleepless nights, and believe me, Ghanaians will show this incompetent government the exit door. Change is coming. Obviously, this person stands with you, but is the creation of 1 million jobs a part of legalizing okada?
Put it the other way around. Is legalizing okada part of creation of the 1 million jobs? If the question can be put that way, or I am just rephrasing the question so I can answer it the way it will address. The way
you want to answer.
No, the way
Let's hear it.
It will address what the gentleman is
if
talking
you say
about.
So.
You see, okada, it's not a creation of the NDC government. It is something that actually evolved.
We know. It's the NDC government that wants to legalize it.
Yeah.
The NDC government that outlawed it, that wants to legalize it again.
Yeah. I'm coming from the perspective of we saying what we're saying, and that is the effect that an economic activity which has so much be entrenched in our society now, any responsible government, okay, any responsible person managing public, okay, needs to assess the situation and know whether that is contributing to the economy. And I tell you, okada is doing so.
I see.
Except to say that okada in its present form is risky. So you sit back and assess the situation and say, well, this is making a very huge contribution to the economic activities, particularly
so that's part of the 1 million jobs that will be created.
Of course, once we create a condition where these people's activities, they are skilled appropriately, they are making contribution to the economy. They are making a contribution based on the people who are engaged in it doing the right thing according to rules and regulations. It will form part of it naturally.
Okay, this one says NDC's promise of 1 million jobs in 4 years is just for voting. Because voting sake, because this means that they will create 20,000 something per month, or be lie. Abdul Majid sent us from Nungwa. This one says NDC has never initiated any social intervention, yet they describe NAPCO as a bad job. You want to take on NAPCO and you say you want to give the people sustainable jobs. NAPCO is a creation, if you like, of the NPP, isn't it?
It is.
So what is the plan, since you don't have the blueprint?
Well, NAPCO is a creation of the current government, but it came in rightly as a stopgap measure to deal with the problem. But that's not the kind of measures we are talking about. We are talking about creating, again, let me underline it, sustainable jobs. Jobs that people can actually hold on for life, if that is what they so or they choose. You understand? So, NAPCO, yes, but by the time we finish with our implementation of the plan that we have through these 3 prongs, you would realize that all current NAPCO beneficiaries, if they so wish, they will be absorbed into the system. But I tell you that one of the conditions under which they would be absorbed will be undergoing some level of training in a particular area that they so wish to join.
I see. How are you going to get that $10 billion dollars? What is the plan?
Various ways. One being what I'll call using approved and internationally recognized or legitimate development financing initiatives, like creating PPP arrangements where we can get funding from outside, of this country to be able to invest in our economy for the benefit of all those who are participating. And these are well-known arrangements that I can talk about. Okay. I can also tell you that, you see, in this business of government financing or creation of revenue through which you can do this kind of activity, part of it is also making sure that you're prudent in your cost as a government. And I can tell you that all that we're putting on the table right now, they're backed by research. We've actually done in-depth research and realized that there are a number of ways that the current arrangement that government has, we see it as inefficient.
I see.
And if you address that inefficiency, if you cut down on costs, rationalize costs, you'll be able to make enough savings to plow back into some of these initiatives.
It certainly sounds like a consistent idea. I've heard the NDC advance. Let's wrap up with this conversation. I've run out of time completely. But this message says, I don't think the NDC did their research well, because the NPP has created more than 2 million jobs in less than 4 years. And again, I was talking about politicians banding about figures and saying we've employed so and so numbers. So he's saying that the NPP has created more than 2 million jobs in less than 4 years. Why should I vote for 1 million in 4 years? Make it your wrap-up comments for me.
My quick reaction to that is that perhaps if that gentleman discounted what we are saying, that they are not the kind of jobs we are talking about, perhaps you see that the number that he's banding about, that's come nowhere close to them 1 million. We are talking ejumapa, sustainable and decent jobs, that which is of world class. Now, if that is the case, then perhaps you would appreciate where we're coming from.
So why the person is saying, so why should I vote for 1 million in 4 years? Essentially, a final word to convince people why. Convince people why they should vote the NDC. I'm just giving you a few seconds to do free campaign. Okay. Convince people why they should leave what they believe, or like this message says, 2 million in less than 4 years to 1 million in 4 years.
Yeah, I think the difference is clear. The difference is clear in the sense that we are actually coming up with something that will address the very things that the youth want. They want jobs, and sustainable jobs for that matter, and that is exactly what we want to give them. We are actually putting on the table jobs that we have listened to them across the country, and the kind of things they say they can do. They are able to do IT-driven, current economic activities that they themselves have put forward as what they are able to do, and that is the kind of thing we are talking about. We are not talking about jobs that they have a contract that will end in 2.5 years.
Okay, Mr. Day, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Sebastian Day is former Executive Director of Corvet. He's been explaining what the plan is as far as the NDC's agenda of creating 1 million jobs in 4 years is concerned. Now, away from that, let's take you to Parliament. There is a lot happening there, despite the House being on recess. There is a Public Accounts Committee sitting ongoing, and it is generating a lot of interesting debate. First is a minority's accusation that government is abusing the executive instrument that allows it to gather personal mobile telecommunication data for the COVID-19 fight. We'll hear from the Ningo Pram MP, Sam George. Also, there is a huge controversy over allegations that state-owned Exim Bank has advanced some 2 million Ghana cedis to musician Shatta Wale to act as brand ambassador. Now, the chairman of the committee says he will consider summoning the musician. There is also concern about the long closure of schools by government. And as you know, this has been done to slow or halt the spread of COVID-19. Here is Sam George's concern about the alleged abuse of the executive instrument, which allows government to collect your telephone data because government says it is helping to fight the COVID-19 pandemic.
My question was very simple, that the Data Protection Commission, which is appearing before Parliament's Public Accounts Committee today, have a responsibility to protect the privacy rights of citizens. I wanted to find out if the implementing agencies under the Ministry of Communications and any other agencies that are implementing the EI63, if the DPC was doing its job of protecting the rights of the citizens. You realize that they could not give us a definite answer. In fact, the executive director made the point that they were not working with all the implementers of EI63. That should be a source of worry for us, that clearly some state agencies have access to our data that are not under the supervision of the Data Protection Commission. 1. 2, the whole formulation of EI63 is problematic because in establishing EI63, the government takes solace in Article 18.2 of the Constitution and Section 100 of the Electronic Communications Act.
Well, Communications Minister Eslo Wusu disagrees.
If somebody has, and the court has given an apt description of people who create their own fallacy and follow it, that it is fanciful fears. They use this same argument about the common platform, drew their own erroneous conclusions from it, spread fear and panic across the length of this country based on their own illusions, which are not borne out in fact. Now, I don't understand if somebody goes to a mobile money vendor.
Let's now hear the controversy over allegations that state-owned Exim Bank had advanced some 2 million Ghana cedis to Shatta Wale, the musician, to act as brand ambassador. Chairman of the committee says he'll consider summoning the musician.
Dealt with Shatta Wale directly, but they engaged a consultant for branding. Maybe the consultant engaged the services of Shatta Wale. You see, so what we need to do as a committee is to establish first whether Shatta Wale has received any money at all. 2, where did he receive the money from? Is it directly from the Exim Bank or from the consultants who Exim Bank claim they have engaged?
Even the consultants paying it will still be Exim Bank and for that matter state funds, which is why you still be.
Yeah, so when Exim Bank, when we confirm that, and then it's confirmed that Shatta Wale received the money from the consultants, we then find out how the consultant was procured.
And that'll be all for me for this hour. Some of you actually sent messages about the suicide, and I would have loved to read some of those messages. Unfortunately, I've run out of time. Tomorrow you can send those messages if you still wish, and I will share it with the rest of the world. There's more news at myjoyonline.com. Sincere apologies if I didn't read your message. My name is Gifty Ando Apia.